girls! For a while now, people have been commenting on my videos asking, is Rachel secretly Pange on Kiwi Farms? And more importantly, if she is, what does that actually mean for her channel, her brand, and the community she's been trying so hard to build? Now, before we go any further, I want to be extremely clear. I am not here to claim anything as fact. I am not here to accuse anyone without evidence. What I am here to do is break down the rumors, look at the patterns people are pointing out, compare them to similar dramas we've already seen play out, and talk honestly about why this conversation is getting so much traction. Because whether you love Rachel, dislike her, or are just here because you're fascinated by Girl World, this situation touches on anonymity, accountability, and the gap between persona and reality. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I would love for our little community to grow. And let's get into it. So, let's start where we left off. I got some comments on my previous video about the Pange rumors. And if you missed that one, I'll link it in the description so you can get the full context. You all had so much to say, and honestly, the response was bigger than I expected. A few of those comments really stuck with me. So I looked up what Pange meant, and this is what the Google AI said. Pange can refer to several things, including the Latin verb pange, meaning compose or fix, the ancient supercontinent Pangaea, or the creator of online content and Pange plays community Pange. It may also refer to the town of Pange in France, or the Hindi slang phrase Pangelina, meaning to mess with someone. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I think this is very interesting, and I agree. And then we had this comment. A little research on the name or word Pange reveals this. Latin, Pange is the second person singular present active imperative of the Latin verb pango, meaning to compose, fix, settle, or strike. For example, in the hymn Pange Linguea, it means sing my tongue, and judging by Rachel's presentation and previous offerings, I would say that this is exactly the type of pretentious name she would choose. Again, I love these comments. I love that this kind of just exposes Rachel. Like, this is the most Rachel name I could think of. And then, thanks for covering this. I checked out her activity and noted she liked comments that were in favor of her, but wouldn't like any being critical, which, let's be honest, that's the majority of comments on the farms, lol. No one on the farms gives ass-pats to anyone, especially creators, so her OG comment was immediately sus. And then I replied, if I know anything, it's that no one is nice to anyone on the farms, which I think is true. It was clear pretty quickly that this wasn't just some one-off curiosity. People were connecting dots, comparing writing styles, watching old clips, and bringing up inconsistencies that I hadn't even touched on yet. And that's when I realized I was definitely going to make a follow-up video. Then I stumbled across this next series of screenshots, which will pull up on screen now, and that's when I knew it wasn't just, should I talk about this? It was time to talk about this. Amber has a better-looking face and good hair. I don't underestimate the freaks that watch SSBBW shit. Imagine if Amber got a new channel and made that into an actual weight loss journey. She'd be Tammy's level of success. Pange. Pange reacted. Anyone remember when Hams used to flex her wallet full of money and say she'd never paid with a debit card? Kiwi Farms members. Pange reacted. I just hope to God it would have looked something like this. Pange reacted. LMAO. Rolling eyes emoji. Yeah, probably not. She said she loves YouTube. It's her passion. That was a lie. She will only do bare minimum and if it benefits her. So if she's not making money, you won't see her after this dies down. If she's manipulating and finding ways to beg you for money, you'll see her. Pange. But she is so not bothered. I popped on the live for a minute, just long enough for her to act like I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I'm not this kind of person. I would normally not give my Cash App. But here it is, guys. What in the hell? She knows what she's doing. Evil Dead fistful of food. Pange. Why are there so many people just so accepting of the bizarre, weird things that she does? Picking the bleeding, the popping all over the place? It's like they accept it instead of making her feel bad to be better. I do not understand. I don't understand why this Pange person cannot use punctuation. My God. Gross. She shouldn't have given shit to Becky. What the fuck? And that was from November 6th. Pange. Damn, Beck's already elbow deep in this, expecting this cash. It would be so if she gives it to Beck. Again, November 6th, Pange. I'd pay money to see her scale. I think that Emily got her up to or exceeding 700 pounds. When she did that Nicki Minaj part where she thought she was showing her belly to everybody and her feeders, she's never been this big. Not in her entire YouTube career. She is very pleased with herself. And the final screenshot reads, Porcarella will be back. She can't help but remind us she's not bothered when she's incredibly bothered. October 9th, Pange. Now, obviously because of the platform these came from, I had to blur out a word, a very nasty word, and I also changed Beck's name there. But here's the thing. Even edited, the voice behind these posts is kind of hard to ignore. To me, and to a lot of you, the cadence, pacing, and the very specific way sentences are structured lines up eerily well with how Rachel speaks in her videos. She has distinct verbal habits, certain rhythms, certain ways she phrases irritation or outrage, and a very recognizable style when she's trying to sound dismissive, sarcastic, or over it. And those same patterns showed up in the screenshots that people were calling out. Now again, this doesn't prove anything. Anyone can imitate anyone. Anyone can be a troll. Anyone can create a persona. But when you lay it all down alongside the timing, the topics, the emotional tone, the fact this person is completely against Rachel giving Beck any of the money, and the language choices, it starts to become a little harder to wave away. This is where people will get split. Some say, who cares? Everyone posts anonymously somewhere. And honestly, they're not wrong. A huge portion of the internet is built on anonymous accounts. But that's not really the point here. The point is, if a creator is presenting one personality on camera while posting something completely different behind the scenes, to me that discrepancy matters. Especially in a community where authenticity is the brand, accountability is preached loudly, transparency is used as a selling point, and empathy is supposed to guide the content. If someone claims to be calling out bad behavior, but then allegedly posts in the very spaces that they say are toxic, that contradiction is worth looking at. And let's not forget the Discord. And look, we've seen an almost identical storyline play out before. Who remembers Creepshow Art? Her entire downfall started when her alleged anonymous posts on Lolcow farm were traced back to her. The issue wasn't just what she said, though that was bad. The issue was the disconnect. On YouTube, she positioned herself as a moral commentator, a voice of reason, someone calling out others' hypocrisies. But behind the scenes, allegedly, she was posting in the exact same spaces she claimed to be above, participating in the exact behavior she condemned. And once people saw that disconnect, her reputation imploded almost overnight. Now, am I saying that Rachel is Creepshow? No, the specifics are very different, but the pattern of the discourse is similar. A creator with a curated public persona, anonymous posts that seem to contradict that persona, a community suddenly questioning which version is real, and a conversation about accountability in the commentary space. And the thing is, Creepshow's downfall didn't happen because of one post or one leak. It happened because of the pattern those posts formed. That's why people are comparing the two situations now. Not because the situations are identical, but because the conversation feels familiar. And here's another parallel that really sticks out. With Creepshow Art, part of what sank her reputation was the way she allegedly talked about other creators, and even her own friends in private spaces. According to the leaked Lolcow posts, there were instances of personal attacks, snarky commentary, completely different from her on-camera persona. Now, looking at Rachel, some of the private Discord posts show a similar pattern. The way she allegedly talks about other creators or even friends behind the scenes mirrors the same disconnect. Publicly, she critiques or reacts with certain tone, but privately, according to these screenshots, the tone can be harsh, judgmental, or surprisingly personal. Again, none of this is confirmed, and context is important, but the pattern is eerily similar. A creator builds a public image of commentary, morality, or humor, while in private spaces expresses frustration or negativity toward the same kinds of people they cover publicly. This is exactly what made Creepshow Art and the Lolcow situation so explosive, and why people are drawing comparisons now. It's not about proving anything. It's about noticing the recurring dynamic of public persona versus private behavior, and how that gap can create real drama when it gets exposed. Let's stay hypothetical. If Rachel is Pange, it raises questions like, why post this way anonymously but never on main? Why criticize behaviors publicly but allegedly engage privately? What does that say about the persona versus the person? And how does that impact the audience that invested trust? Because whether we like it or not, parasocial relationships exist, and viewers feel betrayed when someone's real self seems drastically different from the one they've been watching. Even if the behavior isn't illegal, even if it's just posting, the ethical gap is where most commentary creators get tripped up. On the flip side, if Rachel isn't Pange, then what we're looking at is a case of mistaken identity, a troll mimicking her voice, or someone using her style intentionally to stir drama. All of those are completely possible, and in that case, I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong. But the reality is, when you're a public figure with a recognizable writing style, people will imitate it. And platforms like Kiwi Farms thrive on ambiguity. They bank on it, which is why it's so important to keep everything in the realm of discussion, not accusation, and absolutely not in dogpiling. To me, this only matters for one main reason. The conversation about accountability in online spaces shouldn't only apply to the people creators talk about. It should also apply to the creators themselves. If you present a persona built on calling out contradictions, then yeah, people are going to ask questions if contradictions start showing up in your own behavior. It's not about dragging people or dogpiling or trying to ruin anyone's life. It's about being honest about the influence creators hold and the standards they themselves set. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Whether these posts are Rachel or not, the conversation around persona, anonymity, and accountability isn't going anywhere. And I'm definitely going to keep following the situation as it develops. If you got something out of this video, don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe. It helps keep our cozy little community growing. And it lets me know that you want more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!